The existence of large retail chain poses an existential threat for the local business and society in general, because their existence leads into such an unhealthy competition in the market. The moment they have achieved a significant amount of market share, they can manipulate and control the market in a way that fundamentally harms society. Therefore, the question of this debate, should the protection of the local business, comes in the form of restricting the opening of large retail chain stores, and the answer of that question is definitely a yes, because this is so urgent, and any other mechanism that have been enforced by the government status quo to protect local business, such as training or financial assistance, has been failed, because the root of the problem is power asymmetry in terms of the capital, and we are the only team that can solve that. We have 3 points of model. First, we will limit the large retail chains to only control small and insignificant amount of market share. It means if they reach a significant amount of market share, we will stop them from opening more stores. It means we will limit them to only allowed to open a very limited amount of stores in certain area. Second, we're also happy to close down the pre-existing stores to large retail chain stores if they already surpass the limit of what is considered as too much market shares. Third, the limit of the amount of market shares will be determined by the independent non-partisan regional body that comes from expertise of that regional country where the large retail chain stores operate. So it will be accurately judged by this independent body, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 points of argumentations. First, why the government has the responsibility to step into this circumstance to prevent unhealthy market competition, and second, why the restrictions of these large retail chain stores helps the local business to thrive. So the first argument, we believe that the reason why the government has the responsibility to step into this circumstance is because there is an imminent threat to the local business and the society in general. What is the threat that posed by the large retail chains to this local business? The threat is the economic means of the local business will be fundamentally jeopardized if we don't restrict the opening of the large retail chain stores. It means the local business will lose the customers and incomes because they will always be outcompeted in terms of the capital and features of market that provided by the large retail chains. Let's break it down one by one. So first, the capital. The large retail chain have a massive amount of capital because the shareholder of these large retail chains are rich people that are willing to invest their money in establishing this company. What does capital translate into? It translates into the ability of them to reap profits as much as possible, because by the theory of economics of scales indicates that the bigger a company becomes, the cheaper the cost of production becomes, and the bigger the revenue generated, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because by the virtue of being large company, this large retail chain can do things that can keep their production cost low. For example, they can do mass production by manufacturing their products through the process of automation, so they don't have to pay the human labor. Second, they can have a backdoor deal with the product supplier to cut down the price of their products. And they can also operate in a small profit margin, because even if the profit of manufacturing this product is low, they sell their products in many stores. So the total amount of profit is massive, even though the profit margin of each product is low. Contrast that with the local business that cannot keep the production cost low because they have to hire the human labor since they cannot do automation. They cannot have the special backdoor deal with the supplier because they don't have bargaining position. They also cannot operate in the small profit margin because the amount of the stores is limited. So secondly, the idea of the feature of the market. The large retail chain inherently have better market feature that provides comfortability to the customer by providing, for example, air conditioner, cozy places, available parking spaces, and etc. That gives significant comparative advantage towards them, something that the local business couldn't provide because usually the places are less cozy and comfortable. These two variables prove you that the large retail chains pose a fundamental harm towards the existence of local business. We think status quo regulation that provided by the government is never going to be enough to empower and help the local business to catch up for 2 reasons. First, the government budgets that are allocated towards the SMEs upliftment program, for example, is always limited because government have limited budget. Therefore, the financial assistance towards this SME will inherently lost out by the high capital large retail chains. Secondly, the large retail chain company always have capital to lobby the politicians to influence the decision-making process in the government that can be only benefit to this company instead of the small business one. So our proposal exclusively solves this problem because by closing down and restricting the large retail chain, for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, we allow the local business to be empowered because large retail chain will no longer have the ability to implement economics of scale, create compelling advertisement, and the government's program to empower the SME will be successfully working since we kill the evil competitor, which is the large retail chain. We agree that we will violate the rights of society to have variety of options of products, but we tell you it is okay because we protect them from a long-term harm. Because most of the times, sure, the large retail chain puts a predatory pricing, which is the price are low. But as they start to reach a significant market share, after the local competition have been killed off, they start to gradually increase the price and harming the society's purchasing power. This is exactly what happened in Vietnam after Walmart came in. So we sacrifice the society rights of variety of options in exchange of prevention of market dependency and significant price increase. We believe that even if there is a price increase after we close down many large retail chain, we think it's going to be marginal, not going to be significant, because even local business have their own competition. So second argument, why the restriction of the opening of the large retail chain stores help the local business to thrive? First of all, we need to characterize that this is in line with the government agenda to create a strong local economy that can be sustainably and independently provide to the local needs. This is why we justify government in developing country to do protectionist policy to create and empower a strong local market. The government also have a pragmatic reason to do this policy, which is to maximize the tax revenue. Because on their side of the house, the tax will only going to be limited to the company tax. The shareholders' income tax goes to the foreign government, for example, to the France government. We believe this is an opportunity cost that we shouldn't pay. In our side, we have the company tax and also the income tax of the local individual shareholders. Besides that, the government have the responsibility to make sure the meaningful job availability to the society. Because on their side of the house, the large retail chain is only hiring the local people as the blue-collar workers, for example, as the cashier or the grocery packer. This job is less meaningful compared to our side of the house, where they can be white-collar workers that can manage the company and take part in the decision-making process, not only as cashier. So the question is how we empower this local business. Consider that local business are family-centric that do not have a professional work ambition to develop. It is exactly because their mental feels like they don't have the chance to compete with the large retail chain. In our side, the moment we restrict the large retail chain industry, we will boost the mentality of the small business company that they can actually develop and compete in the market. So the empowerment will come in two forms. First, the financial assistance, and second, the mental boost to motivate the local business to develop. Therefore, we serve the government agenda better to establish a strong and independent local economy in which the local business gets motivated, able to provide meaningful employability, and contribute more to the tax revenue of the government. On all that grounds, to prove to you that the government has the moral responsibility and to protect the local business and also to protect the society purpose.